So, on a total whim the other night, I decided to pick up and play through the 3DS remake of Luigi's Mansion. Again, this is not my first time playing the game. If you don't know, Luigi's Mansion is my favorite video game of all time. I have huge nostalgia for it from the GameCube. It was one of the first games I ever played and finished on my own, and I just love this game. I love Luigi's Mansion, and I wanted to talk about this 3DS remake, or port, that they did back in 2018, one of the final 3DS games, talk about the announcement, the disappointment from that announcement, and then the port itself, because I just replayed it. And I have to say, I think Grezzo, they did the Ocarina of Time of Majora's Mask remake, as well as Link's Awakening and the Miitopia remake on Switch. They also did this in between. They did a really good job. I have to say, as like I want to, microscope this game. They actually did a really good job, given what they had to deal with, the 3DS and its control schemes. I think they did a really good job. So let's just go ahead and dive into the remake of Luigi's Mansion, my favorite game of all time, on the 3DS. Not my favorite game of all time, because it definitely has issues. Let's talk about it. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Media. Today we're talking, of course, about Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS. So like I said, I love Luigi's Mansion. It's my favorite game ever made. Don't want to beat a dead horse here. When they announced this remake, there was such an internal conflict brewing in me.
What's next? What? No! 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 Oh my god.
I think I might play a clip or show some footage of my reaction, because that was, at that point, I was actually making direct reactions. It's pretty horrible quality, I'm sure. That was back at my parents' house with really bad window lighting. I was really happy because, Luigi's Mansion. But I was so sad at the same time that it was not on Switch. Because you have to remember, at this point, the Switch had already been out for over a year. Or about a year. It was in March of 2018 this game was announced. So the Switch was a year old, basically. We had already had some kind of like blowback moments with like Metroid Samus Returns coming to 3DS instead of Switch after that point. And even like stuff like that was annoying. I was a fan of Metroid, but I didn't care too much, frankly. But when they announced Luigi's Mansion was getting remade for the 3DS, I mean, at this point, everybody thought the 3DS would be, like, dead and gone. And it just wasn't. So when they announced Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS, I was so conflicted. I was so happy to see this game that I love so much come back on at that time, a modern platform. But I was so sad because I knew it wouldn't be what it could be. Luigi's Mansion is a really beautiful game in a lot of weird aspects. Just from, like, the particle effects and the atmosphere. This game does so much right on GameCube, and I knew they wouldn't deliver on that on Switch. And to be fair, I think even if it had gotten a Switch port, I would have nitpicked some things. There's a certain charm to the aesthetic of the original on GameCube, the animations, Luigi's design as a whole. I think they hadn't really nailed down quite yet when they made that game for GameCube. A lot of that kind of stuff. It's a very weird game. It's a very weird, piece of the Mario universe. It doesn't really fit the puzzle, so I get why they changed these things. But I would have nitpicked it regardless, so can't really blame the 3DS version for that. The dust thing, though, that's definitely a 3DS side effect. In the Luigi's Mansion on GameCube, there's so much dust in the game, and there's some in the 3DS version, but it's nowhere near it. It still looks cleaner, which is a reason I don't like Dark Moon. Dark Moon is probably one of the most disappointing sequels I've ever played in my life. Luigi's Mansion 3 is very good. That game is fantastic from Next Level, but Dark Moon I don't think is very good at all. It's so sterile. There's no character or personality in that game. Or there's like Minion's personality, but not like the charming, weird personality I want, right? Regardless, when this game eventually came to 3DS that Halloween, it came out. So another interesting point here. It came out in October of 2018. Luigi's Mansion 3 was announced in September of 2018. So it definitely got me in the mood, and I was more, open to just doing this. It made me realize, like, okay, and it helped me rationalize why they put it on 3DS. First of all, Dark Moon was already on 3DS. It was one of 3DS's best-selling games. It kind of made sense from that aspect to just go ahead and put the original one there. Second of all, in a year, Luigi's Mansion would be coming to Switch in a different form anyway with Luigi's Mansion 3. So it makes sense. And at that point, I was kind of like, you know what? Okay, I'm fine with this. I accept it. I do think in the future we could totally get another version of Luigi's Mansion 1. It's a small game. They don't have to do much, really. They just need to put it on the Switch 2 or whatever, right? And I'd be happy. Make it HD. And to be fair, with Luigi's Mansion 3, not to go on a tangent, I was very skeptical of that game not liking Dark Moon, so very happy with how that turned out. But Luigi's Mansion 1 finally came to 3DS, and I gave it a chance. And I didn't hate it. I kind of expected to be really disappointed with it, but like I said, I think Reza did a really good job bringing this game to the 3DS and finally delivering upon the promise that the Luigi's Mansion was to be on the GameCube with 3D. This was the game they initially tested GameCube 3D on, so it's kind of funny how things truly came full circle. Even I remember reading like Nintendo Power back in the day before Dark Moon came out, they were talking like, yeah, we're doing Dark Moon because it's on 3DS and we wanted to make a damn 3D Luigi's Mansion game. So seeing that kind of finally come full circle with the original game was satisfying in a sense. So I think that's another reason maybe they wanted to do it, just because, you know, obviously Miyamoto or whoever wanted to do that. It's been something they've been trying to do for almost 2 decades at that point, right? But in terms of the port itself, like I said, I think they did a really good job. The controls, given what their options were, I think they did a pretty good job using the motion controls to look up and down. And there are definitely certain boss fights that are a lot more awkward than they should be. Specifically the final boss against King Boo, I was struggling with playing, although once again I was also hooked up to a capture card, so it was harder to aim. I'm trying to think if there was another one. The old lady in the yarn balls, just aiming those yarn balls. Anything where you have to aim the poltergust and shoot it, I had a little bit of difficulty. And keep in mind, I was playing on a 3DS XL without a Circle Pad Pro, so I think when I played it in 2018, I played it on a new 3DS XL. I can't really remember how much that helped. It probably helped a good bit. But also they added the strobe bulb, which I don't think I even knew in 2018 when I played it, or at least I just skipped over it, which is basically the charge-up flashlight from Dark Moon. Cool, I guess. You know, it's one of those weird things. It's like, well, it changes the game, but like also, did you need to add this? I don't know. It feels kind of like a random addition. But the greatest addition they added to this game was achievements and a boss rush mode. They also completely changed the new mansion mode. Whereas in the GameCube version, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't fully remember the exact specifics, because usually with Luigi's Mansion, I beat it and then I did it for 2 years. The Hidden Mansion in Luigi's Mansion 1 basically just made the ghosts a little stronger, but also you suck them faster, which is why speedrunners use it. In this game, they completely changed what ghosts spawn in what rooms, and how they react to certain things. Like, I played a little bit of the 3DS version. The little grabby ghosts were appearing and they were invisible in the wardrobe, for example, like the third room in the game. So it definitely was actually a lot harder in that aspect, which is cool. Adding that layer of difficulty instead of just making it kind of like an easier mode almost than it was in the original. But yeah, the achievements also just a super great thing to add. Luigi's Mansion is a very short game, which is part of the reason I love it. I love me a good short game. I love Resident Evil 2 and 3 and 1 and 0 because they are very short games. You can digest them very quickly. I played this whole 3DS remake randomly last night in like 3 hours, and it's just a nice, I can be done with it, and I'll come back to it in a year probably, and I'll enjoy it just as much as I did the last time. But adding achievements to it just adds that bit of replay value that I think is pretty necessary in a game like this. Admittedly, I haven't delved too deeply into those because, like I said, I've done 2 playthroughs, but they're on 2 different 3DSs, so it's not like I really got to get into like the harder achievements, because I think on your first playthrough, you only start with those beginner achievements. They want you to replay this game over and over again, and for a lot of people, that's not going to be it, but for me, as someone who plays Luigi's Mansion every other year, I would say, that's exciting. Now, when I go back to this game next year or the year after, I'll have all these achievements ready, or depending on which 3DS I played on. No matter what, I have it done on 2 now, and I can go back and look at those achievements and be like, okay, I want to really try to do this, because, I don't know, that's just really enticing. Also, the boss rush mode, so cool. It just makes so much sense to add that to Luigi's Mansion. The portrait ghosts are such an interesting and weird, like I said, slice of the Mario universe, and just like the story of the mansion, man, Luigi's Mansion, there's something about it. I remember people thought I was crazy when Dark Moon came out and I said that Luigi's Mansion 1 is better. I don't know if objectively it's better. I mean, there's no such thing as objectivity when it comes to gaming opinions, right? Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably a better game. I will admit that. But I think it's just a very different game from Luigi's Mansion on 3DS or just on GameCube. Luigi's Mansion 1 is a Resident Evil game. And I know that sounds crazy, but it literally is. You're just going through this one location, getting keys and backtracking and going forth and really getting used to the mansion as a character, so to speak. Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3 are level-based, essentially. And Luigi's Mansion 3 is a little bit better about that. I think sometimes you backtrack a little bit, but nowhere near to the extent that you do in Luigi's Mansion. I mean, there's a whole section of Luigi's Mansion 1 where the light goes out, you have to go back to, like, the first area, catch Uncle Grimsley, and, it's a whole thing. There's so much charm and character imbued in this game, so much love and passion, it feels like, that just sticks with me, man. Every time I play this game, it's like I'm playing it for the first time again, just having a good time. And I love it. It is such a good game. And I've somehow never talked about it on either of my YouTube channels. I've never really just talked about Luigi's Mansion. I could totally see myself doing more videos on this game in the future. Maybe once I do more achievements, do a video based on the achievements. Maybe just a GameCube video talking about the GameCube version, because I haven't played that in like 5 years at this point. Little portrait ghost tier list. I don't know. Luigi's Mansion is freaking awesome. I love it. And frankly, despite, I think, I do think this is a pretty good version of the game. It is worse than the GameCube version. Please bring it to Switch 2 or something, or Switch 1, whatever you want to do, really. I'll take it. Any Luigi's Mansion stuff, I will take. I was talking to my girlfriend, and at this point, we're just completely rambling before I head off here. I was talking to my girlfriend about it because I was playing it, and she was in the room, and I was like, man, how did they not do Luigi's Mansion 3 amiibo? I still don't get that. That would have been so perfect. You get a little Luigi with a poltergust, you get a polterpup, and then you could have done Gooigi, which, I didn't even talk about Gooigi. Yeah, they added Gooigi to this. I didn't play co-op because the IR port on my 3DS is gone. Otherwise, I would have played it with her. But that would have been a perfect 3-pack. Luigi, Gooigi, and polterpup. Or even just one of the boss ghosts. I don't know. It seems like such a missed opportunity, especially in, I love Metroid, but, I'm looking at my Metroid Dread amiibo up there. Why doesn't that get an amiibo and not Luigi's Mansion? Seems a little weird to me. I don't know, because obviously Luigi's Mansion is a better selling franchise. Anyway, I'm rambling. Luigi's Mansion is freaking awesome. Let me know, do you have the same nostalgia and fondness of Luigi's Mansion 1 as I do? Because, man, every time I play it, just good vibes all around. And if not, let me know why. And do you prefer 2 or 3? I imagine most people are going to like 3 more, and I completely understand that. 3 is a fantastic game, but there's just something about that sauce that was mixed into the mansion of Luigi's Mansion 1 that, so good. Thank you so much for watching this rambling review video. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing for more Nintendo 3DS content, Nintendo nostalgia content, Wii U, Switch, all of the above. Follow me on Twitter @BoTalksMedia, and until next time, folks, bye-bye.